Okay, Danny, thanks, Glenn. Hey, everyone. Ray Bloody Purchase, what are you doing here?
Stephen Gonville Toast.
Well. I heard you're the most homophobic actor in all of London. What is this, gay for pay?
Don't like the sight of two grown men kissing, Toast. Don't see what the fuck it's got to do with you.
The client specified he would very much like you to pronounce it underpantsy.
Let's not do this. We'll be here all night.
Do we have to do anything but this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome. Do you know what's really interesting? YouTube is not the primary way our listeners engage with this podcast. Based on our analytics, they listen to it through SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So hello, listeners. YouTube is just an option that's out there. From time to time, we get a bit of a spike on YouTube from people who obviously just found it randomly. But recently, we did an episode where the headline, the title, and the thumbnail had Stephen Toast in it. Not exactly something you'd expect from a pop culture podcast necessarily in this climate. I thought, do you know what? This one's going to underperform. It has not underperformed. Do you know which one did underperform on YouTube? The Moon Knight themed episode.
Well, no one's ready for a Moon Knight.
No. Or maybe Matt Berry should have played Moon Knight.
Ooh.
He could use all one of his different character voices. I'm Stevie. I'm Mark Spector, and I'm the fucking Moon Knight. It's like the same... Oh my god, yeah, they're all different people. I'm an Egyptian god, and you'll listen to what I have to say.
You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Now you listen here, Kingpin of Crime. You get your shit together and pack the fuck up. Hi, welcome to Big Damn Cast.
Honest, it is.
Nerdy news, geeky gossip stuff that's fit to fill the time very briefly on your tiny commute. If your Bluetooth headphones don't phase out.
Yep, it's true.
I've recently switched to wireless. Well, I've had wireless Bluetooth headphones before, but I had cans. I've recently switched to inner ears, JVCs, and they.
JCB?
They're
on your head? Bit heavy in it?
They're 5. I'm Luke. I'm 5, and my dad's Bruce Lee. All right, I can handle a JCB. But that was a number one. Back in the day, when I walk locally in the local area around these parts, I walk past. There's a war memorial that's on my commute.
There is a war memorial
into the centre of our village.
Yeah.
And there's a shortcut by a not quite graveyard near the supermarkets.
It's not quite a graveyard. It's memorial stones down, but is it a graveyard?
And you're told to not walk on the stones.
But
you're not allowed to walk dogs on the stones. It's this little sign.
What? But it's the path.
Yeah.
The stones are the path.
Yep. But as I walk through both of those parts of my commute to the supermarket, the headphones stop working. They blink in and out and they disappear.
But you've entered the Swinton Triangle. Part of the Greater Salford Anomaly.
Tied to the Walkden Abyss. And twinned with the I don't know, the fucking Eccles Well. I don't know.
Similar to the Slough Hole.
Oh no. And the Surrey Slurry.
And Scunthorpe Abyss.
Just Scunthorpe. just Scunthorpe. But it's weird because it's like, is that a signal thing? Are there things in those two areas that would interfere with a Bluetooth device?
When I'm in town and I've got my Bluetooth cans on, sometimes they are cutting in and out because there's just so much Bluetooth. And so many wireless signals.
True.
Flying through the air.
So maybe I'm just sort of, because I know there's a lot of offices around the Memorial Stone bit.
That's
so
what
maybe,
they call themselves, yeah.
But maybe there's just a lot of shit going on.
We've got a lot of signal pollution.
Solution. The solution would be to just all go analog again, folks. If you're listening to the show, and you have a spare Sony Walkman cassette player to hand, send it in. Get in touch with
Why?
us via the Patreon.
Just 'cause you want one.
Patreon.com/BigDumcast. Yeah, why not? I think I own one cassette now, and it's over there, and it's a novelty 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy copy of Awesome Mix Volume 1.
I've still got a cassette copy of the Nightfall audio drama lying around.
Really?
Yes.
I had it on iTunes, and then it moved to the audiobooks, audiobooks part of the book app when iTunes got split into a million different apps and became Apple Music, and now it's not on there. And whenever I go into the Apple Store, can't find it, and it's infuriating. Because that's one of my favourite things. So what I'm basically saying is, I'm gonna have to borrow that cassette so I can listen to that guy who the voice is BANE, like this. I will lift you up, and I will break you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favourite adaptation.
I do enjoy it though. I do enjoy it, and I remember I was like, it's been like adapted for audio by Dirk Maggs, who directs it.
Yes.
And that was the first time I'd come into contact with his name. And again, if Dirk Maggs is listening to this, which he isn't, massive respect. Incredible work, Sandman, all the stuff you've done with Audible, BBC Radio over the years, Hitchhiker's Guide stuff. Prolific voice director and producer of audio content. Absolutely prolific. Man knows his stuff, and no one has a bad word to say about him in that sphere. But I looked him up when I first heard Nightfall around 2011.
Yeah.
And I saw a picture of him, and I was like, God, he must have been doing this for a while, because I saw a picture that I presumed was from the early to mid-80s.
Yes.
No, it's just what he looks like. He has like bleach blonde, like Jareth the Goblin King hair and a big dark mustache all the time. He sort of looks like
man.
He sort of looks like the Joe Exotic that's going to heaven, not hell.
Oh, okay.
If that makes any sense. Again, prolific man. This is not an insult. I just was very shocked by what I saw because I was used to sound engineers looking just a little bit bored at listening to me go on before actually saying, hi everyone, welcome. We're at the title sequence. It's like a Moffat era Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
We're finally there, 7 odd minutes in.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Gonville Johnson.
And I'm just examining this patch of dry skin on my right knuckle.
Where'd you get that from? You've been punching someone.
I don't know why. It's just that particular bit of skin is just caking up.
Well, that is an indicator of what the pop culture news has been like this week. Coming up, a couple news stories. And
a couple of news stories.
Yeah, one that'll make you go, oh, interesting development. One that make you go, oh, robot cat. And one that'll make you go, what fucking, why? Why? Then we're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett episode, Where the Fuck is Boba Fett? There he is. And we've left Boba Fett again.
Boba Fett, where?
What was it called? Was it called The Stranger from Out of Town? Or The Stranger Came In from the Horizon?
Stranger Came Into Town, I think it is.
Okay. Which, again, I spent the whole thing being like, oh, they're using a Western thing to sort of recontextualize a Western trope.
And how?
And then at the end it was like, no, it's literally a Western thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Going back to its roots.
Spoiler. And then as soon as the credits rolled, director Dave Filoni was like, of fucking course.
Love that for you.
Love that for you, Dale.
Yes.
Plus some info on how you can support the pod and all that nonsense at the end. But first, Mayhew.
Nope.
Cool. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Let's go. Anything you want to bring up this week, pop culture-wise? What have you been binging? What have you been soaking in?
I've not been doing anything. I've just been sort of levitating in a void. A black void. Things that I have... No. Oh, I'll tell you what I did watch.
Yes.
I watched a trailer.
What trailer is that,
I watched a trailer. It's not the one you were expecting.
Oh, it's not a segue. Good.
I watched a trailer for the Sky original adaptation of John Wyndham's The Midwich Cuckoos, previously adapted as Children of the Damned and Village of the Damned.
Yeah. But they're going for the Midwich Cuckoos. Okay. And you do realise so many reviews are going to be people going, it's just a rip-off of Children of the Damned.
Yes. No golden eyes and blonde hair in this one, though, for the kids.
Golden hair and blonde eyes.
Yeah, just not
blonde eyes.
Right, they have all got the same haircut, though.
Oh, okay.
We'll have a watch of it after this pod. It's quite. It looks quite good. It looks quite creepy.
TV movie or limited series?
Yeah, I believe it's a limited series.
Okay, I see what you're putting down, and I'll pick it up, sir.
For those who don't know what The Midwich Cuckoos is, it's a John Wyndham novel. All the women in a small town in like rural England just fall unconscious, and then they wake up the next morning and they're all pregnant. And they all end up giving birth at the same time, and the kids go really quickly, and they're like scary, intelligent, and maybe they're sinister, and ooh. It's good.
I mean, for Christ's sake, the adaptation's called Children of the Damned. If that doesn't say what it does on the tin.
Yeah.
Does what it says on the tin.
Well...
Is it in a tin? You probably get a steelbook of it at this point.
Yeah, probably.
A24.
Well,
A24 probably
well, there's two,
reissued
because John Carpenter did Village of the Damned.
Oh, yes!
With Christopher Reeve.
Are they connected? Hang on, wait. Are they connected, or is Village of the Damned another adaptation?
It's another adaptation.
So, Children of the Damned,
So
Village of the Damned, and the original novel is The Midwich Cuckoos, which is finally the title of the most recent upcoming adaptation.
Yes.
Okay.
Village of the Damned with Christopher Reeve and Kirstie Alley.
Yes.
And Meredith Salinger. And Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the preacher, isn't he? He's the vicar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet...
oh, God, I've seen that one!
Yes, that's the John Carpenter one.
Oh, shit! I was thinking, I was like, yeah.
Oh, they are both Village of the Damned. They are both Village of the Damned.
Yeah, because Reeve's the lead in it, isn't he? He's like the dad and the... is he... No, hang on. Is he a teacher? Or a doctor?
He's a doctor.
Yes, that's it. I've seen it. Oh, my God.
Village of the Damned is in 1961.
Do you know what's really sad? I was like, he's a doctor, isn't he? He's a doctor who like, he's replacing the incumbent one, and then I realised, no, I'm just describing arachnophobia now.
Yes.
Like, that's the plot of Arachnophobia, which is, I mean, I guess it's tiny, scary things terrorising a small rural town.
Yes.
Not quite the exact same, but yeah, I'll take it.
No, you've got the 1961, which is Village of the Damned.
Yes.
With George Sanders.
Yes.
Then you've got the 1964 Children
George
of the Damned.
Sanders.
Yeah.
He was a fascinating and bizarre individual.
George Sanders.
Not being flippant here, like, trigger warning for anyone who's uncomfortable about the notion of people ending their life. But I'll keep it very brief and non-specific. George Sanders left an eloquent suicide note that basically described him being very bored and upset and knowing that no one around him could sort it, but that was fine because the boredom outweighed the depression. He's like, I've got nothing more that I can do, really. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Don't feel bad for me. I actually would prefer to get off of here because it's dull as dishwater. By everyone. And it's just like, wait, hang on. Is that him being sort of sardonic to try and comfort everyone or something? Do you know what I mean?
Or is
he legit just like...
true bitterness, yeah.
Yeah, like, what a straight... like, year prior, it was Shere Khan the Tiger.
So truly, he did have nothing left to give.
Like, that's it, I've done it. I've done the bravo. It's like, I've got nothing more to give to this world. And nothing more could bring me joy. I've played an evil time. Didn't even get to watch the movie.
No.
He played Mr. Freeze. He was like the second Mr. Freeze.
Of course.
It was him, Otto Preminger.
Of course.
And someone else. Yeah. How weird.
That is very weird. It's very strange.
Yeah, back when Mr. Freeze was
Strange.
Mr. Zero, but they went, no, don't call him that in the show. People won't understand what that means. Call him Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
Do you know what I've been absorbing into my holes this week?
What?
Via the lovely, not sponsored, but if they'd like to, please fucking do. Subscription service Marvel Unlimited.
Ooh, yeah, what you've been reading?
I have finally finished Nick Spencer's run on Spider-Man.
Yes.
Fucking hated it.
Oh, no!
I hated it. There was like 2 good storylines at the beginning. For me, again, those mileage may vary.
Yeah, I didn't read
enjoy.
that far in. I got
toward the beginning. It was kind of like a new voice feels different.
Yeah.
Okay, the illustrations were great as well. I did like the artist he collaborated with. He fell back on Mark Bagley a lot though.
Yes.
During the middle of his run, which was beautiful because Mark Bagley can do no wrong in my eyes as an illustrator. I absolutely adore Mark Bagley. Like John Romita Jr., you can sort of look over 30 years of career and see the evolution of their style and what things have stayed the same, what things have changed.
Sure.
But the Kindred thing is in a mystery that starts out wonderfully and just turns to utter bullshit halfway through his run and then sticks around like a bad fucking smell. It's shite. It's, again, opinion. Cool. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. If someone's listening to this is like, I enjoyed it. Great. I wish I did too. I'm so sorry. And Beyond has started on the app now because obviously the app's 3 months behind.
Yeah.
Which is like an interim with a couple different writers and illustrators working on this story before the new team fully moves in. As of right now in the real world, like now, I think the next issue is like number 1 again.
John Romita Jr.
Yes, John Romita Jr. back on illustration by that point.
Yeah.
At this point, he's not. I sort of tried to fill in the gaps a bit with Ben Reilly, so I went back and read the Scarlet Spider series that followed the events of the Clone Conspiracy.
Oh, no, after that, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which in itself didn't help out with where Kane was, because there's a whole big gap after Spider Island. There's the Scarlet Spider series about Kane. And then he shows up in 800.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff I don't know, which I think is tied into like either Midnight Suns or Thunderbolts or something. I don't know where the fuck he goes. But then he comes into the Scarlet Spider series called Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, which is a brilliant, weird, nasty little series.
Oh.
It's horrible.
Ooh.
And it's meant to be, because this is the post-Jackal Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
Who is like, no, I'm gonna stay on the down low, but I'm also a sinister son of a bitch. But this series really goes into why. Like, if you've been resurrected several times, only to be murdered and experimented on to be resurrected again, and you were essentially the 28th Ben Reilly, where you had the memories of every time you'd been murdered and experimented on, you'd be a bit twisted.
I'd be pissed, yeah.
By the end of it, he's sort of given an olive branch that suggests you could do more, which ties into Spider-Geddon, which I've now finally read, where they look into that a bit, the idea of him being like, maybe I should not be a dickhead, which ties into Beyond. It's fine. But the thing I'm reading that I've been really enjoying is I'm finally properly going through Dan Slott's Fantastic Four. A couple of years behind, I'm up to Empire, which so far I'm reading all the tie-ins.
I think that's as far as I got.
Oh my god, the point of origin story. Oh my... So, again, no spoilers, but the basic summary for those who are like, I've never read a Fantastic Four thing, but I know the basics about them.
Yeah.
Give this one a read.
Yeah.
Point of origin. It's trade paperback with these 5 issues in. It's out there. Point of origin. So, they go to the opening of like a science museum in a new science wing at the Smithsonian.
Yep.
And the Marvel 1, which is the rocket they went up into the atmosphere with in the original Fantastic Four story, has been lovingly restored as a museum piece.
Yeah.
And basically Reed gets super nostalgic, or Reed and Johnny get super nostalgic over it.
Yeah.
Sue's just sort of like, isn't it weird to think like how different our lives would be? And Ben's like, yeah, how fucking different our lives would be. But he's happy at the minute. He's in the like post-wedding glow with him and Alicia.
He's married Alicia.
First great idea, as part of the exhibit, is the black box from the Marvel 1. And you can listen to it. So Ben presses the button and, of course, instantly regrets it because it's just like the sounds of them waking up in the wreckage. Well, it's the sounds of them being hit by the cosmic rays and then the sounds of the wreckage. And, of course, like, even though he's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing and he loves himself by this point, he's very confident in himself, he still has doubts. He has that thing, that sort of cure that's on the go where once a year, for like a 5-6 hour window...
It's a week.
It's like, he gets accelerated just before this with the Puppet Master revenge at the... with Big Green Meaning.
Cool.
Which was so good. It was so fucking violent. For like once a year, he'll briefly turn human again.
Yes.
But apart from that, he's still kind of, he's confident, he's comfortable in his own skin, but that little reminder of his humanity, the fact that it's cut short so much in this story.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's it. It is a week, but at the end of the story prior to this, he ends up knocked out for a week.
Yeah.
So he misses the entire time he's human.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so good. So he's already feeling bad about that. The idea of, like, revisiting the reason why he's the way he is a sore thing. So when Reed and Johnny are like, do you know what? We never finished that mission. Like, there was a point out there that we were going to fly to investigate. We never got there. Let's build the Marvel 2. Why the fuck not? Let's do it.
Because it went so well the first time.
Put Johnny Reed and Sue a little bit, get into, like, just essentially building an improved version of the original rocket. Like, they're not going to go all out. They're not going to... Because the kids, like Franklin and Val, are like, we travel through different dimensions all the time.
We've done this.
Like, us four spent 5 years on the edge of existence recreating the universe. Like, why do you want to build an old school rocket to just go to somewhere we could probably... We could ask a friend to teleport us there.
Yeah.
Like, and they were like, that's not the point. It's like, we never finished it. Why not do it this way? Like, it just... So we can finally say that we did that original mission.
Yeah.
And Ben's like, no, fuck no, no. And then Alicia kind of sways him round a bit. So when he goes to the ship to be like, okay, maybe I'll go. They're like, yep, your chair's been built, your suit's in there.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like, oh, okay, fine. So already, great idea for a story. They're
Well,
gonna
Stretcher was
redo...
never not going to let him go, was it?
Exactly. They're going to redo Their original mission, obviously, like the hull this time, because that was the thing, wasn't it? The hull wasn't strong enough to withstand the cosmic rays. That's why they crashed, and that's why they're mutated and got their powers. So it reads like the hull is like that's the only real improvement we've made. The basic guidance system's been improved, and the hull is so impenetrable now. We will be fine, even if we hit another cosmic storm. We'll be fine.
They've built spacecraft before anyway, since the Marvel one.
Cut to part 2 of the story.
Uh-oh.
Suddenly, the continuity page is about what are they called? It's about that's it. Yeah, it's about a group of superheroes called the Unparalleled, who exist on this planet just outside of our solar system. Who all have wonderful abilities that have been given to them by the Overseer, who's like sort of the leader of the planet, who guides everybody and keeps them like prosperous.
Yeah, that's great.
Keeps them safe from Lowtown, where these horrible mutated aberrations hang out. And
always in Lowtown.
Occasionally climb up to the main citadel, and the superheroes have to leap in and deal with it. Suddenly, a prophecy they were always trying to prepare for starts to come true. The foretold are returning to their world, and they have to be ready because this time they won't be able to stop them in the atmosphere. We basically learn that there's a planet out there that has been shit scared since the Fantastic Four initially hit that cosmic storm, that invaders were coming to reign on their world. And now their instruments are telling them that the same 4 individuals are in a new craft and headed toward their world again. So again, great idea, because you're like, oh my god, that's a really cool idea.
I like this.
Thing is, again, no spoilers, and there's loads more to it. Like, just wait till you meet Skye. But the cosmic rays might not have been an accident. Which means someone's got to answer for what they've done to their lives.
Yes.
And the moment that started to crop up, I was like, oh, this is a story that has sat in someone's... Maybe it's Dan Slott's, maybe it's the editor. I think is it Tom Brevoort's the editor on Fantastic Four, maybe? Like, it's sat in someone's imagination for years, this story. The idea of...
Yes.
What if they didn't just fly into a random cosmic storm? What if it was somewhere trying to defend itself from invaders? Oh my god, it's so good. It is so, so good. And it really showcases the best of what the Four can be like. And so again, if anyone out there's like, I want to read a bit of Fantastic Four, don't know where to start. If you know the basics, Point of Origin. Pick it the heck up. Yeah. So good.
Okay.
Wow. Do you know what else was good?
So many things, but it depends where you want to...
Warner Brothers' strategy at the end of 2020 for releasing films in 2021.
It was good for the consumer.
It was. We were in a pandemic. Well, we still are in a pandemic. I'm sorry, everybody, to burst your bubble.
Yes.
We still are. But, we were in a pandemic at the end of 2020. Chances of theatres being open weren't certain. Like, things were starting to open here and there, but the cinema wasn't back in full force as of yet. In America, though, there'd been trial runs, there'd been little patches, certain states had opened up a little bit more and lowered restrictions and then gone back into lockdowns early 2021. But either way, Warner Brothers had a plan. Warner Brothers were to release all of their major tentpole 2021 releases simultaneously via cinematic exhibition where safe and available.
Yes.
And on the new streaming platform, HBO Max. As an incentive for people to buy HBO Max, and also as an incentive for those who didn't feel safe going out or couldn't to buy HBO Max. Be like, well, I'm going to get to see a new film anyway. I'm going to get to watch it anyway. I'm not paying any extra. I've just got it on this service. Great for Warner Bros. Great for safety, especially during the first half of 2021. Great for people's safety. Not anywhere else around the world. Only a few countries got HBO Max last year. But good, great, fine, fantastic. Wow. Pat on the back.
Yeah.
Toward the end of the year, less people were subscribing new to these services.
Almost like there's too many streaming services out there and people have to pick and choose which ones to stick with, dependent on the content that's available on the service.
But also because people were starting to go to the cinema again.
What?
Drip, 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 drip here and there. Some Warner Brothers releases got simultaneous releases as planned. Mm-hmm. Some were made completely digital exclusive. Others, like Dune, fought tooth and nail to make sure they had a double option. Because it's Denis Villeneuve, wasn't it?
Denis Villeneuve wanted to
made a big point of being like, this has ruined what the film could have made. Well, Village Roadshow Productions are so adamant that their big Christmas tentpole release was affected by the dual release on HBO Max and cinemas, that they're suing Warner Brothers.
Nice.
This is kind of mad. Village have made a shitload of films with Warner's as a distributor over the last few decades.
Yep.
And the film in question was, regardless of critical reception, a surefire hit were at a cinema-only release.
No.
The Matrix Resurrections.
No. Okay. I'll tell you for how and I'll tell you for why.
Okay.
One.
Yeah.
It's a sequel to a film that came out over 20 years ago.
Yes.
And two, it wasn't great.
No, but again, ignoring because it's pre-critical.
Yeah, but
like if you knew it was going to be exclusively in cinemas and they had peppered a couple trailers, like one in August, one in October or whatever, and you knew that at Christmas time there was going to be at least 3 brand new movies you could go and watch that would be like tentpole ones, which would have been Spider-Man No Way Home, West Side Story, and Matrix Matrix Resurrections. Those 3 are going to make money. They're going to make some bank. And also, we saw how thirsty people got when a certain film that came out at Christmas relied on the nostalgia from a film that came out 20 years ago, even if it was a third of the movie.
However, I would argue that word of mouth can kill a film's box office pretty
absolutely,
fucking quickly.
Absolutely, which is why like a week before Spider-Man might have been a better bet.
Yeah.
But, I like big butts.
And I cannot lie.
You other brothers cannot deny one's love of the butts. The Matrix Resurrections definitely made a big loss.
Yes.
Theatrically.
Yes.
In a way that, based on the successes and non-successes of the HBO Max same-day release throughout 2021, appears to be part of a trend. Early in the year, things like Godzilla vs. Kong did really well.
Yes.
In terms of people who streamed it, people who went to see it theatrically if they could, people who pre-ordered like a physical or digital copy for their like 4K digital libraries or whatever, like it did well.
Because Godzilla vs. Kong was really good.
Bless your eyes.
It was really good! I really liked it!
But I mean, that was the first sign that this might work. Into the summer, films like The Suicide Squad didn't do as well as like they could have done if it was exclusively theatrical, but did really well. Enough that it was like, okay, we're alright. Restrictions lessen, we're into the final quarter of the year. Matrix Resurrections is a cross-platform release. It does not do well. Maybe word of mouth, or just people deciding, I'm going to go to the cinema once because I'm not sure about like going still. People were picking and choosing what they went to see, and based on the numbers, it's clear what everyone chose to see as preference over any of the other releases. But, point is, if it had been theatrical only, it definitely would have made more money.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is not...
and that's the basis of the lawsuit that Village Roadshow Village Roadshow Entertainment is putting forward to Warner Brothers. They're saying, we lost out and will continue to lose out on this franchise because you went and continued a model that was clearly dated and not working financially by the middle of 2021 that you should have abandoned. They're essentially saying, you doomed us by keeping us to this model that was not making anyone any money.
That being said, I do think the idea of cinema exclusivity does need to be revisited. So, I'm not...
I mean, again, early in the year, cannot deny, the idea of limiting things or making them only available where they could be available was a great idea because, like, to discourage people from getting together in mass gatherings was key early 2021.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm like... People, unless you're spaced out in that room, and unless you're taking a big swig of your drink, keep your fucking mask on.
Let me tell you about...
If there's like 10 of you in a 150-seater screen and you're all spread out, fine. You do you do what you deem is fine for you and what is right for you and what makes you feel safe and makes you feel that the people around you are safe. But if it's a packed cinema, keep your fucking masks on.
Let me tell you about this man called Boris. Who decided that he needed to have a party. Back when there were rules against having parties.
Goddamn.
So, here's the thing. Yes, Village Roadshow could have made more off The Matrix Resurrections if it had been cinema exclusive. However, make a better film. I didn't hate Matrix Resurrections by any stretch of the imagination. It was fine.
Yeah. Well, it's a dangerous word.
You look at...
It's a dangerous word nowadays.
You look at... You know,
get dragged for calling something fine.
It's fine. You look at... But,
fine Who fans are still feeling the tremors.
But you compare it to the other sort of nostalgia-driven blockbuster that was out at the same time.
Yeah.
One of them is nostalgia-driven, but also a very good film.
Not best picture worthy.
Well, no.
Which never was gonna be. I'm sorry.
It's like, what did you expect?
I loved No Way Home, but it was never gonna be nominated for best picture. The fuck is wrong with you all? Yeah. Like, calm down.
And one of them is, the other nostalgia-driven one was fine. Like, there's some really neat ideas in Matrix Resurrections. It also hits you over the head with the sort of fourth wall breaking. This is a sequel. Do
you remember this from the old one?
Yeah. It's about. So have you seen Matrix Resurrections?
No, but I know enough.
Yeah. So the basic plot is
the stencil kit for the first movie is brought out and is used as a things are repeating, as well as the in-film narrative of the Matrix narrative of he created 3 games called The Matrix.
And now he's being made by Warner Brothers, call out by name, to
our
make
parent
another
company,
one.
Warner Brothers. And you're just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Which in itself is either an incredibly clever Joe Dante Gremlins 2-esque commentary from Lana Wachowski about, look, the studio were going to do this no matter what.
That is basically
I am going to make a movie about how I'm being made to make this movie.
That's the exact conversation that they have in the film.
And I'm going to focus as a director, the thing I'm going to focus on and have fun with and actually put time and effort into is a love story, which is nothing to do really with the previous 3 that you're all expecting this one to be about. Like, it just to be about the romance. And I'm going to spend the rest of it complaining about the fact that I have to make this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Or it's trying to be that, and it's just really boring cut and paste. Do you know what? I saw one description online that I thought, I'll run it by you, let me know if this sums it up. It's the Shining sequence from Ready Player One, but feature length.
It's not that bad.
Oh, no, not in terms of quality, but it's like, you're just seeing all the things you recognise happen, while some characters go, oh yeah, this bit. Oh yeah, this bit, I guess.
Alright, there is a moment that parallels a moment from the first film, while that said moment from the first film is literally being projected onto the characters as they are doing it in a big fucking theatre.
Is it the bit where, like, Morpheus basically reintroduces himself to him and is like, yes, you can... Yeah, I've seen that in the trailer. Yeah.
It's... Yeah.
Hey, at least they stuck to the guns of the canon of an early 2000s online MMO game. Because Lawrence Fishburne was like, I don't understand why I've not been asked back for this. Now that when it was public knowledge that one of the characters was Morpheus, it's like, yeah, but you're dead though.
It's not that
the MMO game from the mid 2000s killed Morpheus off after the events of the 3rd movie.
It's not that they hold it as canon; it's that they don't contradict it.
Yeah. All right.
But here's the thing, right? So yeah, Village Roadshow could have made a better movie. However, this is more a question of the way that distribution is changing and needs to change, because people want films to be more accessible.
Yes.
And if you look at how quickly the gap has shortened, or not how quickly, but how it's accelerated the shortening of the gap between theatrical and home release since the advent of DVD. It's back in the early days of VHS, you were waiting, a year
Yeah, oh god, it used to be
a year
over
and a half.
a year and a bit. Yeah, year and change
until it came to home release, and then that got shorter with DVD and continued to get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Although that's
and then
really,
shorter with Blu-ray.
really weird. Like Last Night in Soho came out in UK cinemas in late November. I have it on Blu-ray. Like I bought it last week.
Exactly.
I own it on Blu-ray. Spider-Man No Way Home came out in mid-December. It's not out on Blu-ray until June.
Yeah.
Like,
So
what's the deal there? Why is there such a big window for that one?
No, people want convenience in the way that they consume the way that they consume media. So you kind of have to give them that. And Warner Brothers making things available on HBO Max in principle is a step in the right direction. What they've got to work out is making sure that the people who've done that work get reimbursed for it properly. And I think that's. And it's a similar thing to the way that game studios are reimbursed for their stuff being on Game Pass or on PlayStation Plus.
Yes,
and I think it's something that's what needs to be reevaluated. Not the concept of something getting a home release at the same time as a cinema release. People will watch the film.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who are, to be fair, I reckon, this is just a guess, but I would hazard a guess that a lot of people who watched it at home on HBO Max are people who would have pirated it because they don't want to go to the cinema. But instead they pony up for HBO Max and watch it there. So they're getting some money at least. So I think...
I imagine it'd be cheaper to watch on HBO Max as well, because unlike the Disney Premier Access model, it's free.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. And, Premier Access is not... It's too expensive, but in theory it's not a bad idea. If it was cheaper, I'd be alright.
It's not expensive if you're a family of 5, and it's you know what I mean? Like, you want to go and take the kids to see the live action Mulan, but we're in a pandemic, and it's going to cost you like 40 quid to go to get all your tickets. Oh, look, it's available on here for 25 quid.
Yeah, but if you're like a single person or an adult couple or whatever, like...
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's part of the reevaluation. You make it so that these films, if they are same-day release or near to same-day release on the streaming service, you make it so they're a separate purchase for a certain amount of time, but you lower that price.
Yeah.
Like, if for example... well, like, I have no desire to go out of my way to see Death on the Nile. But the morbid curiosity in me, because of how many of its cast members have since revealed themselves to basically be dickheads, weirdos, or potential cannibals. I'm like, and I kind of enjoyed the execution of Murder on the Orient Express. So I'm sort of like, I'm curious, because this has been put back like 2 years as well. So I'm like, okay, but I'm not going to make the cinema trip to see it. But if you said to me, oh yeah, it's going to be on Now TV, same day as cinema release, for $5. You can rent it for one, because that's the thing as well. One screening for $5. Yeah. I'll go, yeah, all right, I'll do that. Why not?
That's you're still getting money for it, and I think the problem is so much of that money is so much of the money that goes towards the people who have made a movie. So much of it is eaten up on the back end by production companies and distribution companies and lawyers and the cinema chain and this fucking producer and that producer and and it needs to be streamlined.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the thing, is that the sort of what many actors and producers sort of said is make sure you're getting points on the gross, not on the net of a film, because if you're getting points on the net after they've done all the deductions and stuff, that studio is gonna find ways to make that money disappear and go to someone else before they have to pay you out.
We have to put that over here. Oh, that? No, you must have miscalculated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's loads of...
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
so
shady as
that's
fuck.
what needs fixing, not the idea that you can do a simultaneous home and cinema release, because you absolutely can. The cinema experience needs to get better. And it's not going to get better because it's an industry that no one wants to invest in. And it's an industry
I was going to say, it's not down to the companies themselves per se.
The margins are razor fucking thin.
Yeah.
And there's no... For many reasons, like the studios with their ridiculous licensing costs, the various property companies with their ridiculous rental costs, it's a lot needs to change. The cinema industry is failing because of its inability to produce a an experience that you want. Like, I like the experience of sitting down in a dark room with a big screen and watching a film, but really, now, it's something I can get at home.
It's part of the reason why we designed the living room the way we have. The work we're doing on it now is so that we can basically have more of a cinematic vibe to it when we have movie nights or play big video games and stuff.
Do it at home without a bunch of dickheads in the front row Snapchatting, or it being 15 quid to get in, or
learning who in the movie screen is potentially going to be a future murderer.
Yeah.
Those kids laughing at Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. That was one of the creepiest experiences of my life.
It was...
So watching the whole film going, I'm really not enjoying this. And also, they are disturbingly invested in the bits that you are not meant to be laughing at.
Yeah. It's a worrying thing. So...
And I feel bad for everyone on the ground who works in the cinemas.
Christ, it's not the employee's fault. It's the company's fault.
Yeah, I feel bad for the individual managers of different regional departments.
Well, yeah, it goes straight to the top, doesn't it? That's where the problem is.
The issue's up them.
It's a structural, it's a systemic issue.
All the movie studios very much could have come forward in 2020 when there was the initial discussions of that. How the hell are the theatres going to survive? All the big studios, you then Foxes, your Disney, your Warner Brothers, especially with fucking Comcast and Viacom and all the companies behind them, AT&T, they all could have come forward and been like, yeah, we're each gonna pour as little as a weird sentence to preface with as little as, but for them, as little as $1 billion each into the theatre industry.
Well, that's the thing. It benefits them to get rid of the theatre industry.
Yeah.
Because then they have less people to share out the profits to.
Yeah.
Because you can be damn sure that movies aren't going to be cheaper to rent directly to home than they are to go to the cinema. It's just more of that is going direct to the distributor. Not the studio.
Do you think it's going to get to the point? I'm talking 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
Where the big cinema chains, maybe as companies still exist, but they're part of software or home distribution instead.
I think they have to.
And they probably own maybe 5 major sites around the country. And that becomes the niche thing. The niche thing is we're going to watch Thingy on the big screen tonight. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. And it becomes a thing where it's 30 quid to go and sit in a really well looked at, we're talking,
like an everyone.
Even plusher.
Yeah.
Even plusher, they make a really big thing out of it. It becomes a thing, or a film will, a successful streaming film will tour instead, and you'll have arena screenings of it.
Oh, back on the old fucking late 30s, early 40s touring cycle. Possibly. Everything's cyclical, isn't it?
Which in turn would eventually resurrect the cinema industry because people would go, do you know what? I actually prefer watching it on a big screen away from my house.
It would not surprise me.
It's mad. It's mad. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is just because it was interesting that they're going, we got screwed over, and you can't say that it's because of circumstances because you had business projections throughout the year. You could have changed this. It's incredibly similar to the case from late last year, of Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Pursuing a lawsuit after Disney for her not earning anywhere near as much as she should have earned on Black Widow because of how they chose to distribute it against the initial contract.
And again, that's because they chose not to amend that contract because they knew they were going to get a bigger. It's greed. It's greed.
Is this the end of Hollywood? Is this the end of Hollywood, Matt?
I wish.
Is it being taken down? You know the final nail in the coffin will be. You know the final nail in the coffin will be.
What will the final nail in the coffin be?
Anna de Armas not being in yesterday.
Oh,
those guys are going to rip Amazon Video to pieces.
It. Jesus Christ.
Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? Do you know what's weirder?
I've got a feeling you're about to tell me, and I can sort of see half the headline, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
Okay, so what can you tell the viewer? I've not told Matt what this story is. I saw this just before Matt arrived, and I was dismayed by everything about it. But what can you see of the tab?
I can see Liam Neeson is worried Seth...
Yeah, okay. So, what do you think this might be in relation to? So, Liam Neeson immediately set off alarm bells because Liam Neeson, beloved actor, possible violent racist abuser. He, now, allegedly, he said it.
Yeah.
He didn't...
He said what he said.
He didn't commit a hate...
But listen, he said what he said.
Act. For those wondering what the fuck we're talking about,
No, just don't repeat it. You look it up.
Oh, my booster.
You can look it up.
He just tapped me on the arm and I went, why did that hurt?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to stop you somehow.
Long story short, young Liam Neeson nearly did something horrible and racist, and he admitted it freely in a press junket a couple of years ago, and every human on the planet went, "What the fuck?" Because it was one of those things where it's like...
Fuck, Liam?
It's one of those things where it's like, it was wrong what you did, and you acknowledge that it was wrong what you did. But what's even weirder is that you admit it now, like 40 years after the thing you nearly did, and you think that that's an anecdote that's fine. Like, maybe don't ever tell that anecdote, Liam.
Well, he just needed to clear his conscience.
Yeah, oh God.
There we go.
Oh, Jesus. But anyway,
Right,
no, it's nothing distressing about Liam Neeson. It's... What other thing can you guess from that?
Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now, these two have teamed up a few times.
What's he
Liam
worried
Neeson
about?
was the villain in Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yeah.
I hesitate to call that a film by Seth MacFarlane. He has collaborated with him on... What else?
He must have done voices for
He's
Family
done
Guy,
voices for
American
Family
Dad.
Guy. So, yes, which I think came out of them parodying him once, him seeing it and being like, "Oi!" And then he got in touch with him and they were like, "Would you want to do the voice of you in Summit?" And he went, "Yeah, all right, why not?" And this was as he was... Because, again, there's a bunch of our listeners who'll be like, "Liam Neeson, the action film guy." It's like, yeah, we still think that's weird.
Yeah!
It's only been, like, the last 11 years that he's been doing just action movies.
Yeah, like...
Prior to that, a lot of dramas,
Yeah.
romance films,
Yeah.
rom-coms. He was not the action guy. Qui-Gon Jinn was, this is different for Liam Neeson.
I mean, he was in Krull.
He was in Krull.
That was one of his early action roles.
Maybe that's
so...
actually the worst thing. No.
Don't
no.
shit talk Krull now.
No, all right. Can I shit talk Neeson?
Yeah, alright.
Okay, I'm going to open the tab and the headline's going to
tab.
make you cringe. Liam Neeson's worried Seth MacFarlane's Naked Gun reboot could end his career.
What, his career or Seth MacFarlane's career?
Liam Neeson's career.
I mean...
What is the most wrong thing about this headline? Is it that Liam Neeson's going to work with Seth MacFarlane again? Is it that Seth MacFarlane's going to direct another movie? Is it the fact that movie is the fucking reboot of Naked Gun? Sorry,
MacFarlane...
The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. Get it right, Internet.
Is Seth MacFarlane the man to reboot Naked Gun? See, I'm not going to say, do we need to reboot Naked Gun, because it doesn't matter. It's going to happen at some point.
We don't need to reboot Naked Gun. Leave
it's
it the fuck
happen.
alone. And I know we've
happen,
people who've said that doesn't need changing, and we're people who've also said, do you know what? Different interpretation might be a laugh. For those of our listeners who are too young to know what the fuck I'm talking about, The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad is the first in a trilogy of films put together by the wonderful Zuckers. They sort of pioneered the parody genre in the 80s and 90s in a way that hadn't quite been... It hadn't become a genre by that point. Films had
in a way that has not completely aged well. There's some problematic material
we'll get into that. Well, casting Liam Neeson is not a bad idea then, is it, to carry the legacy on? But like the films are not intended to harm, and nor was anyone cast in those movies because they wanted to platform a murderer. But the Naked Gun movies were essentially a reboot of Police Squad, a TV series that was short-lived, 6 episodes, that essentially was too clever for its audience. It's not clever, it's dumb humour.
It's not big and it's not clever.
But what's wonderful about the Police Squad... And again, if you can watch the Police Squad series, if you can find it, 6 episodes, there's a DVD version, it's available digitally, watch it. It's fucking brilliant. But it was essentially a gag a minute... like a gag every 10 seconds level of punnage. Like, it's relentless, and it's delivered completely straight-faced. Yep. And that's what kind of makes it amazing. It's
what Leslie Nielsen was so fucking
good
at.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen, who had been, and again, here's the parallels here, had been a dramatic Shakespearean actor. He'd been a B-movie like sci-fi actor. He was an actor's actor. And then he did Airplane. And he's fucking brilliant in it.
Yes.
Because everyone in Airplane's playing it like it's a serious disaster movie. Yeah. No one's playing it like a comedy. But he is the most straight-faced person in that film.
Just had an uncanny knack for just playing the most ridiculous situation and dialogue completely straight.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me
Shirley.
And it's just, it's he was absolutely sublime at this. This straight face,
incredible.
He is both the butt of the joke, but is so the straight man. He doesn't realise it, and no one else around him treats him like the butt of the joke. They treat him like the straight man. It's so fucking well done. And comparisons I can think of for like maybe our younger viewers or like UK specific viewers who haven't ventured into the US comedy stuff, like Touch of Cloth, Charlie Brooker's Touch of Cloth, for example, is delivered very much in the same way. It's also a police procedural, but Leslie Nielsen perfected it. The network didn't know what to do with Police Squad because like they had people tuning out in the first couple minutes, and some of the test audiences legitimately, this is legitimate, they genuinely claimed that they didn't get it, like they couldn't keep up. So essentially there was meetings during because of course it's American TV, so the first episode's going out while they're making like the fifth, and they're chatting about it and going like, do we simplify it, do we lessen the gag ratio? And it's like, well, no, because the whole reason why this is funny is because it never fucking stops. It just beats you over the head with jokes like every few seconds. And eventually the network just canned it, but the Zucker brothers like shopped it around, and eventually, boom, movie deal, The Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad. The films, as they are, very much products of their time. That doesn't mean that they're filled with insensitive material, but there's obviously stuff in there.
The third one is
awful
stuff in it.
But it also has the recurring plot with the Queen. The whole Queen thing is
yeah.
fucking magical. Is that the first? That's the first, isn't it? No, the Queen's... The second or the third. Oh, God. Yeah, the stuff with the Queen.
The third one's the Oscars.
Oh, God, yes! Yeah. Okay. Naked Gun 33 and a third, the final insult. So even they knew to quit when they were ahead. They're like, we've done 3, we'll call it there. The last one's even going to have the final in the title.
Yeah.
And we're never going to resurrect it. And they didn't. And other movie studios made films similar to it with Leslie Nielsen in varying degrees of success. He was always brilliant in no matter what project he was in. If the project was shit, he was great in it. Superhero movie, as a prime example. Also starring a troublesome person, Drake Bell, actual abuser. Drake and Yeesh, am I right? So, yeah. Fucking hell. It's weird to me that he was Spider-Man and no one talked about it. It's just like, the fuck?
No, we're not going to talk about it.
Ugh,
Carry on.
Anywho, yeah. Naked Gun, really, really funny comedy movies that are expertly written and fantastic practical, physical jokes and gags executed wonderfully. Obviously some dated stuff that hasn't aged well. O.J. Simpson's a co-star throughout the whole thing. That's very distracting now.
Yes.
But fun. Great times all round. No need to do it again. Really, no need to do it again. The parody genre was pulverised into utter paste and gravel in the 2000s by some of the same people who pioneered it.
Yes.
But then set it off on its way.
Yes.
Or specifically, on its Wayans, because the Wayans are the reason why it started to die. Scary movie, very much of its moment, still very funny. Bit dated, but still very funny. Scary Movie 2, still very funny, even if some of the jokes are like, really? Really? But it's got Tim Curry in it, so you can't hate it. Tim Curry, though.
Okay.
Tim Curry.
Alright, fine.
Do you know what?
I'm not going to fight
For that, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of catching me.
No.
I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
No. I'm not going to let you do it.
Surprise!
But
But
damn
anyway,
it.
scary movie movies, a shite, epic movie, disaster movie, all this shite that follows, Meet the Spartans, all this crap. The parody genre has died a death.
Ain't that the truth?
Because it got to the point where it was just, we're making references. We're not writing jokes. We're just going to reference a thing you remember. Disaster movie or epic movie. Look, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks. From that film that came out 2 months ago. But the joke is they're evil. Well, that's not a joke, is it? Yeah, but it's Alvin from those movies. Look, fucking Giselle from Enchanted is in disaster movie, epic movie or whatever. All right, what's the joke? She burps and farts, but she's from that film from a couple months ago. There's literally a bit in one of those films where, in quick succession, Hellboy, Iron Man, and the Hulk show up.
Yes.
Because that summer, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, Iron Man, and The Incredible Hulk have come out.
Yes.
It's the only reason they're in it. They don't do anything. They just show up, and they think that that's a gag. A reference to something, just referring to a thing, is not a clever fucking joke. You look at the scripts and the storyboards for the Naked Gun movies, and I guarantee it is, like, terrifying, beautiful mind levels of calculus that have mapped out. You can see in the script where everything is described for a visual gag, every joke, you can see where it is.
Yeah.
There's room for improv, but it doesn't rely on it because they want it to be a Swiss watch. And that's why those films work on a technical level.
Yes.
They're a Swiss watch.
Yes.
Making references is not clever, and it's not a joke. So why the fuck is Family Guy's Seth MacFarlane looking to remake Naked Gun? Why?
Because
all he can do is reference things.
Because that's what he does. That's what he likes.
Oh, but the funniest joke in A Million Ways to Die in the West is when Ryan Reynolds is just there. Why is it funny? Because it's Ryan Reynolds. What's he doing there?
It's not funny.
It's not a joke. Do you remember when Django shows up in it? Like, Jamie Foxx shows up as Django. Yeah, and what does he do? Well, he's just in it. Django! Ha ha! So not only is he the worst possible choice to do this if they have to do this, Liam Neeson's not Leslie Nielsen.
No.
Just because they had the same initials and their names are vaguely... Their names would sound the same if you were coming off of anaesthesia from the dentist. Like, that's it. That's what they have in common. The older actor... it was, in Leslie Nielsen's case, they're older actors in the later part of their career looking for a bit of reinvention, and a comedy person has gone, hey, you can be funny. Liam Neeson's not Leslie Nielsen. He's really not. He's really fucking not. The reason this has even been brought up is because Liam Neeson's been doing press for what was it specifically? He told People magazines. This is probably just like a profile piece. Don't ask him about what he used to do in his hometown when he was younger. But essentially, he's gone and said that about 2 years ago, he had meetings with Fox, probably. So would it be Fox now? It'd be Disney now, I guess.
Yeah.
Paramount. No, Paramount. Ah, yeah, because they did.
Okay.
They did Ted, I think. So.
God.
So he had meetings with Paramount.
God.
Who had meetings with Seth MacFarlane, who then had meetings with Liam Neeson and talked to him about it. And he said that he doesn't know if he should do it because it would either be something really cool for him and a chance for him to flex different muscles, comedy muscles, or he'd come across as shite and it would end his career. And I'm like, how about all of your careers end so that I, a man who admires the work of Leslie Nielsen, don't have to watch you shit all over the work of Leslie Nielsen? I know those original films will still exist, but like, do you remember that weird time in the 2000s when if you mentioned the Pink Panther, people would go, oh, Steve Martin. Again, a lovely man, very talented. Fuck off those two movies. Those movies can get in the fuck bin. Not even the normal bin. Get in the fuck bin.
Just go watch Roxanne instead.
Yeah, but that was great because it's based on a freaking, opera. Isn't it?
It's a play.
Where's a play? Yeah, of course, yes.
The new adaptation is a musical.
Yes.
The one with Peter Dinklage.
Yes. Yes! Oh, God, that just came out, didn't it?
It's not out yet. It got
Is it out in the States?
It got...
Because I know he's been doing a lot of press recently. Going, hey, Disney, fuck you! Throwing Molotov cocktails at Disney's Snow White film.
It got a week-long residence for awards season, so it could be eligible for the Oscars. It's not out until later this month.
It does look good. The trailer for it does look really good.
The trailer for it looks good, but also completely hides the fact that it's a musical.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until you mentioned it. Oh, so we get to hear Dinklage sing.
Yeah, presumably.
Peter gets his pipes out.
And
Peter gets his pipes out!
This is the thing. The original French play rhymes. It's written in rhyme.
Easy musical.
Yeah,
or you could watch Steve Martin do an adaptation of it with a big rubber nose on.
Yes,
which is, to be fair, every other version of it prior to the Peter Dinklage one, the character is depicted with a really big nose. Speaking of big facial features, chins! Segue didn't work.
Huge chins!
Segue didn't work. Lightyear! We got a new trailer today on Tuesday the 8th of February 2022, the year of our Lord.
It looks like a fun space action comedy fit for all the family with some cool stuff in it.
Zurg!
Zurg!
Fucking Zurg!
Zurg!
Zurg looks terrifying, but he's still got his big poppy gun. Although it looks like it could melt your face off. I saw the trailer with Lucy before, and she went, "What are you doing, Chump? That's the sound it should make. You shoot little yellow balls out." I was like, "Oh yeah, good point." Looks really cool.
It does.
It looks really, really cool.
It does.
And I'm just like, oh my god! Everybody's saying, so like, at what point are we gonna like see how it connects to Toy Story? I don't
doesn't.
care. I think the fact that it doesn't is better. If you want to do a mid-credits gag or a post-credits gag where like Andy's watching it in the cinema and asks if he can get a Buzz Lightyear toy, that's cute. That's a cute little button.
Yeah,
great, but not needed. This just looks like Pixar have gone, we want to do an action film that looks more like an action film. Obviously, they've done them before. There's great action in Brave and The Incredibles, Incredibles 2, and Cars, like, admittedly has really good action set pieces in them. Like, they have done action.
Yeah.
But this is the first one where you're like, we just want to do a legit action movie.
You look at this and you think there's actually no reason why this couldn't be live action. They're just doing it animated because they're an animation studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it could be, you know, you could have just cast Chris Evans and had it as a big, like, tentpole summer family action blockbuster.
Very true. Kind of glad it's animation, though.
But yeah,
because
animation
I
gives
want,
it a bit
I want
more,
people to go see more animation.
Yeah.
A bit more bounce and stretch.
Yeah.
And tentacles sprouting out of the ground and throwing people around.
Yeah.
If you're into that sort of thing. Ground tentacles. Speaking of them, we'll talk about Boba Fett in a second. But before we do, the second cutest thing that we've seen on screens this week in Lightyear, Socks. His like companion for long journey space travel.
Yeah.
It's a robot cat.
A robot cat white noise machine.
Yeah. That's creepy. That's so creepy. I'm waiting for it any second to sort of go shudder, and then do a little flip.
Yeah.
Like those old toys of yore.
Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah, the film has basically shown its fuck you, we still want you to buy toys hand.
Oh yeah. And
I mourn the Disney store solely for the reason that we will not get to see a lot of Socks toys on shelves in a themed stand. Which is a shame. I'll tell you what though, if they did like a Diamond Select, like Disney Store exclusive action figure of this version of Buzz,
yes,
I probably would get it.
Yes, please.
I own a Buzz Lightyear, a Woody, a Jessie, like based on Toy Story 3. They're in this house and I adore them. But I will happily take an action figure based on this movie. Speaking of action figures and smashing them together, the Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett. A stranger came to town.
Episode 6?
Episode 6.
Yes, the first 4.
Last one this week.
It seems like the first 4 were the Book of Boba Fett. Last week was the bookmark of Boba Fett. This week was the very brief pamphlet of Boba Fett.
This is Mando season 2.5.
Yes. Spoilers ahead, because you can't discuss this episode
theory
without spoilers. But put it this way: if you like fan wank,
oh, you're gonna love this.
Wank away. Get your finest trainer sock.
I think we need to address
and tuck it right under the bed of fun.
I think we need to address the CG elephant in the room. So this has a lengthy on-screen role for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, returning again in his CGI, partially motion captured, partially stunt acted form from the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian.
Yes.
Which looked really cool. It was sort of like a 95% there version of it.
Yeah, it's mostly there, yeah.
But the moment was really strong, and it was a great end to Series 2 of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And it was the only way you could accept as a viewer Grogu leaving the show.
Yeah.
Because you were like, if Luke shows up to take him, I, as a viewer, I'm like, fair dues. Fairly dues.
Yes.
Didn't fucking expect to, A, see them again this soon, and B, see them for a third of the runtime.
Yes. They've really lent into it, and it's gotten a lot better, even in this, in between the season 2 and this.
Yeah.
However, slightly worrying, because...
Let's get this out of the way before we talk about the episode itself.
Mark Hamill was not involved at all.
Yep, he's credited. But it's a courtesy credit. It's like Stan Lee with an executive producer credit. It's for marquee purposes, and he will probably have been paid a fee for his likeness, maybe.
The entire vocal performance was computer generated.
That's fucking creepy, and I hate it.
With Matthew Wood, sound designer, long-time Star Wars sound designer and voice of General Grievous in Episode 3.
Yes,
yes. Wow, that's the situation.
But not in Clone Wars, I noticed.
No. So
even though that would be a really easy booking, I imagine. No offense to him, but it's like, you don't normally do voice acting all the time. Can we get you in on this? Yeah,
guess
sure.
who's busy? So Matthew Wood, sound designer, basically has like a neural net AI program that he fed a load of original material from the original trilogy from Mark Hamill into, and then wrote the dialogue and spat it out. And you know what? It sounds like a fucking vocal performance.
It does.
It's a little flat.
I didn't know this going in. I mean, to be fair, it's because, like, on day one of it going out, I avoided the internet all day and then watched it that night. Like most people, was surprised by, holy shit, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But even during it, as much as I was amazed by the scenery, this was definitely directed by someone who's an animation guy.
Yeah.
Like, Filoni made this look as fluid and as colourful as possible, and it stood out from the rest of the season because of that. Obviously, it was the first full episode we spent not in cold space station corridors or sandy desert like locations, so it was very like visually striking. But I spent the whole time we were with Luke and Grogu thinking to myself, it sounds a little flat. Now maybe that's just because I'm more of a voice actor nerd.
It does sound
maybe.
a little flat. It does.
Okay,
but also
it didn't take away from what the performance did in the episode, like what the service of the character was. But it does make you wonder if he's gonna stick around. But also, can we not do this?
Luke's performance in the original trilogy can be a little flat at times.
I mean, especially when
he's in Jedi mode in Jedi, yeah.
Like, the only time he kind of breaks that in Jedi is little personal moments with Leia, and toward the end in him trying to get his father to come around, him losing his temper briefly, in the fight in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
The rest of it is he's sort of adopted that like stoic, like return them now and no harm will come to you. Like, that's his thing.
Yeah.
But do you know what was one of the worst parts of the Star Wars prequels? All the fucking Jedi being stoic and boring.
Which actually one of the things I really like about.
It works fine in Return of the Jedi when it initially came out, because the whole thing was you were like, oh shit, what's going on with Luke? Oh god, he's not kidding around. He's all zen and he's doing shit with his mind.
One of the things I really like about this episode is you see Luke leaning further and further into that.
Yeah.
You see Ahsoka and Luke meet.
Yeah, Ahsoka back.
You see, and Ahsoka
Tano back before her spin-off.
seems to be a little skeptical, I think.
Of Grogu.
Not of Grogu, but of
the Jedi coming back.
Yeah. Because she's not sticking around. He's building his new temple, and we all know what happens to that temple. So by seeing him leaning more into what he knows of the old Jedi, which Ahsoka has distanced herself from, you see where he's going.
Yeah.
You know where he ends up.
Yeah.
So I think it's really neat that we've sort of seen more of the start of that journey, and I think it fills out The Last Jedi a little bit more.
True. I don't know. I think The Mandalorian felt like it was playing in different... The Mandalorian felt like you'd got the toy box for the Star Wars toys, and you'd pushed aside the main cast.
Yeah.
And gone, what can I do with Snaggletooth? What can I do with Pruneface? What can I do with this droid? And it felt like you were playing with things that looked familiar.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what? Give me a marker. I'm going to colour this Boba Fett toy in. Like, do you know, it felt like they were doing something different. Like, still familiar, and a couple familiar locations were visited.
Yeah.
But it felt different enough that it was like, it's its own thing. This one was like a return to the familiar in Boba Fett being a central character. So we're going to finally spend time with Boba Fett, and it's going to be set on Tatooine. So it's like, okay. Alright. Tatooine. It's like, alright, fair enough. But now it feels like they've just sort of gone, what's R2 doing?
I think they'll use it sparingly, though.
I hope so.
I don't think...
I kind of hope we don't see Grogu again this series. I hope the focus for the remaining 3 goes back squarely on Boba Fett and his mission.
We will see
with Mando
Grogu
as one
again.
of... Oh, yeah, but not in this. Yeah, I don't want to see him again in this.
We'll see Grogu in Mando.
I want the last we see of him to be him looking between his 2 options.
Well, we already know exactly which one he's going to choose.
Well... Did you hear about the sort of spoiler that's out in the world?
I hope I know which one he's going to choose, because I really don't want him to suffer the fate that it would imply that he suffers if he stays at the
One of the encyclopedias, like the official, Disney DK big published ones from the last couple of years, stresses in relation to Luke's academy and the origin story of Kylo Ren that Ben Solo is the first student of his temple.
Okay.
So I think the implication here is
Grogu's
not going to stick around. He chooses the chainmail and goes back to Mando, which would give us the buddy team up we need for Mando Series 3. Whether or not that's a bad decision narratively for that story going forward, because it's like, it's just more of the same again of this show, depends on what they surprise us with.
No, it wouldn't be more of the same because we've seen Mando turn away from his creed. We've seen.
There's definitely things to explore.
He's not got the quest going forward, so you've got things to explore. And think for that character, for both those characters,
it feels like there's another edit of this show
without the Mando.
No, where Mando's story from episode 5 and 6 is interspersed with the events of like episodes 3 and 4,
possibly,
of Boba Fett.
Do we think this was a subplot of Mando season 3 that was then
possibly
spun out into its own series?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Possibly.
We shall see. Yeah, like it's cool that he's like, I just have one thing to do, goes to do it. I love that he doesn't actually see him again.
Nope.
Because it's so horrible. They know what they're doing. They're making you go, no.
But he's right there.
He's right there. When he says that, Mando just be. I know that there's an online kind of contingent that are like,
came all this way.
Himbo Mando is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't say he's a himbo. I'd say that he's just sort of.
He's simple.
He's simple, and
he's not simple. He's uncomplicated.
He's uncomplicated, and he's kind of exasperated by the Jedi shit.
Yes.
Like, he gets that Grogu should probably be with his people, the Jedi, and be looked after by people who can take care of him.
But we think about it, the Jedi aren't his people. The Jedi took him from his people.
And Mando has kind of learnt that himself.
Yeah.
He felt like he was saved by the Mandalorians and adopted into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But now he's been rejected by that creed.
Yeah.
And rejected for reasons that, like, he's like, no, I did what I did because it was the right thing to do.
Yes.
So even he is now going, maybe I was indoctrinated.
And he still has the dark side.
And he still has the dark side. And maybe Grogu, like, maybe I'm just handing him over to be indoctrinated. So the seeds of doubt are being sown.
Which is why I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah,
but I'm also interested to see where we go next, because we've got
R2! Can we talk about R2?
We can talk about R2.
No one talked about R2 online after it came out.
Sassy motherfucker.
So cute to see him.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, obviously we saw him briefly at the end of Mando Series 2, but here we got to see him basically like show up and be like, the fuck are you doing here? And Mando be like, here to see the kid. And I was like,
droid. How's he thinking?
He's still...
Fuck do you think you're talking to?
I love that he still has a bit of a... Not a hatred for droids, but he's still a bit like, oh god, I'm having to deal with a droid. But he's no longer angry about them.
Yeah.
Because, like, when R2 just shuts down, I guess because he's trying to make the point of, like, you just got to wait here, so I'm going to wait as well. And Mando's just sort of like, hello, what am I meant to do?
Yeah.
And he just kind of, like, waves in front of his eye lens and he's like... It's the fact that the temple building, they are a great design.
Yeah.
Do they have to look like spiders? I guess they do.
They look more like ants.
But yes!
That's what they're doing.
Oh god, you're brilliant.
They're carrying...
You are brilliant.
They're on 6 legs. They're working in chains.
I didn't even pick up on that.
They're
I was
ants.
like, oh, spiders.
They're giant ants.
You're so right. Do you know why? It's because there's been like 2 other spidery droids in this series so far, and I'm like, oh, no more thanks.
Well, you didn't like the scuttling little train driver?
No. Did you see that we got the one from Jedi?
Yeah.
We got that back. Still scouring the desert, picking up nutrients or whatever.
Well,
or spraying like fertilizer or pesticide.
That's a bottle man monk. That's a brain in a jar.
Holy
it's
shit.
Not a droid.
What? Oh god, Star Wars is weird.
In Legends, that's what happened to Bib Fortuna.
Oh, now it's Granny's peach tea.
Yeah.
It's just Granny's peach tea in a jar.
Yeah, there we go.
Good lord. But like, and the fact that one of them just starts chaining off and they build him a bench.
Yeah.
That's so cute. It's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal, again, doing miracles with just his voice and maybe sometimes his body.
Pedro Pascal and the team, I think.
The Din Djarin collective.
Yeah.
Doing a great job telling stories with an action figure with no face, as always. Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka Tano, cool. She wasn't really here to further anything, but she gave a lot of Clone Wars fans a nice bit of tingle when she said, like, you remind me of your, like,
so much like your father.
So much like your father, and Luke sort of gives a little wry smile, or someone types some buttons on a keyboard and Luke smiles.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? It's weird crediting it as a performance. Again, it's not a performance, but it is.
Do you know what their problem is?
What's the problem?
they've learnt the wrong lesson from Rogue One.
Yeah.
The first time you see Tarkin in Rogue One, it's kind of brilliant because you go, holy shit. They've got a scene with Grand Moff Tarkin. Peter Cushing has been dead for 40 odd years. That's brilliant. That they've got a guy like who can emulate his voice perfectly and filling it in and filling in this little scene so we can see where director Krennic's objectives lie based on his superior. That's really cool. And then he's in like 3 more scenes, increasingly more in lighting.
Bum, bum, bum,
And
bum.
it looks cool if you are watching it on like a phone or you're not right near your TV.
Yeah.
It still looks impressive,
Yeah.
but it's like as soon as you get nearer to it, you're like, that's a CGI character.
That's a penis.
God. But like, it works better sparingly.
Yeah.
Leia in full fucking rebel ship bright lights at the end of the film.
Don't work.
As a narrative
Doesn't
moment,
work.
works fine. As a shot, is a weird note to end on.
Yeah.
But whatever. Less is more when it comes to these things.
It is.
Luke appearing briefly at the end of Mando Series 2. Less is more. Perfect example.
Gorgeous stuff.
Luke appearing throughout this episode of the Book of Boba Fett gave a lot of people feels.
See,
Please
the thing
stop
is,
now.
It's self-indulgent.
Yeah.
But I really like what they're indulging in, so I'm giving them a pass. That's what it is, really.
Yeah, like it's not hurting anything narratively, but
No.
also I don't want to. There's the moral implication of it all of like, where does this?
Yeah,
end?
that's worrying.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying what's on the screen.
Like when Audrey Hepburn's likeness was used for like those chocolate adverts,
weird, isn't it?
and it was like, okay, like she is performing brand new actions from beyond the grave. This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like if you were to doct the original footage, or you had someone just dressed up like her character from Breakfast at Tiffany's and go through these things, everyone would look at it and go, "Oh, Breakfast at Tiffany's." But the fact that they got her likeness and uncanny valleyed the fuck out of her was weird. We watched minor spoilers for Ghostbusters Afterlife. I won't go into specifics. We watched it this past week. It was Lucy's first time watching it.
Yeah.
She fucking adored it. She loved it. And I was like, I'm so glad you did. On my second viewing, I loved it a lot more.
Yeah.
On my first viewing, I was like, I can see the Sony. I can smell it from here.
Yeah.
It's not going away. It's as rank as day.
Yeah.
And it's everything I feared. But on my second viewing, knowing what I didn't like, I focused more on what I did. For starters, cast McKenna Grace and everything, she's brilliant.
Yeah, she's brilliant in that.
And cast Carrie Coon in more things. She's great too.
Yeah.
And Paul Rudd is a sweetheart. And I now know from someone who's worked with him on a recent movie set that he is genuinely a really nice person to
That's
everyone he
good to
works
hear.
with, which is a good sign because it's sort of a sign of what kind of person you're dealing with.
Yes.
And
Also,
all the people on that set, not so much.
It's
It's not
just
my
nice.
place to tell those
It's
stories.
just nice to know that not everyone's awful.
Yeah. Especially in that universe. So, yeah. So, there is a performance in that is recreated, a character who is brought back briefly in a scene at the beginning, maybe more, but at the beginning, that is done with body doubles, some slight hair and makeup, and a bit of CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And this character appears a couple times. I won't say the contexts of the film.
I thought that beginning scene, the way they
Beginning
shot it
is
was
done
really smart.
Brilliantly, because that's mostly physical with a bit of CGI to delicately fill in gaps.
Yep.
And then a bit later you see them in a different context where the lighting and whatnot made it so that when I said to Lucy, who's a huge fan of the Ghostbusters, and she adores the original 2 movies, the first one is her favourite film, I said, how did you feel about that? Did you find that weird? And she went, not really, and I think it was because of the context of how we saw that person.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as, maybe show less of them in that sequence, or make them a little more obscured, but because of the context and because you could tell what the message was of the film and the filmmakers,
Yes.
it didn't really hurt.
No.
It didn't feel weird. 'Cause people sort of forget that the Carrie Fisher double in Rogue One appeared 2 weeks before she passed away.
Yeah.
And That's right, isn't it? Yeah, she passed away before Last Jedi came out.
Yes.
Yeah. But she'd done all her work on it, bar like a couple scenes. So, yeah, it was 2 weeks after Rogue One. She passed away. And that was, you know, it in retrospect, it feels a bit icky. But then you remember, no, it came out while she was still with us.
Yeah.
So it wasn't intended as like a, and this to our beloved princess. Like, no, it's just an effect that didn't quite work.
Yes.
Whereas in Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's used in a bit more of a context that fits in with that world.
Yes.
And as a result, didn't feel too icky. Now, if they start parading the effects work they did on that character in another film,
yeah,
it would be like, could you stop now?
Yeah.
Could you please stop now? Please, for the love of fuck, stop now. Same with this, even though Hamill's still with us.
Yes.
I think if this version of the character keeps showing up, it's just a bit weird. Man.
It is a bit weird. I think they should recast.
I know it's a meme, but just fucking cast Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
Just
recast it. It's fine.
do a mini-series, cast Sebastian Stan. We can all accept a CGI Jabba getting his tail stepped on for one scene in the remasters of A New Hope, and then having the puppet 2 films later. We can all accept that. Same here. We can all accept a software version of Luke Skywalker for a couple of appearances, and then you cast someone else to play him if he's in a longer film.
Sure, Mark Hamill's not going to mind.
Oh, he won't care. He won't care. He wouldn't. Of course, he wouldn't fucking care. I mean, like Grand Moff Tarkin has been recast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like, voiceover, yes. He appeared physically in Revenge of the Sith in one shot, an actor with a shitload of prosthetics on their face to look Peter Cushing-y. But like, just recast, guys.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's been recast. Like, do you know what I mean? They can this cross-platforming kind of thing. Like Katie Sackhoff is playing Bo-Katan in animation and live action, sure, but you've not got the original voice actor for Ahsoka Tano playing her in live action. So why be precious over some things and not over others?
Yeah.
Just recast. Like, just could you? Oh God, because as an actor, it scares me a bit. Could you imagine if they were like, right, so we know the performance of Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura. Bad example. Ace Ventura: Nature Calls is so beloved and like no one could ever top it. But the studio is going ahead with the Jim Carrey reboot, the Ace Ventura reboot. So, playing the role of Ace Ventura, our effects team have done an incredible job. Jim Carrey will be playing the role of Ace Ventura, a role the late actor originated back in the 90s, here in the 2050s, back on screen. He's back on our screens, and I'm like, no, I mean,
it's already been done.
Stars, don't reboot Ace Ventura again. But like, no, you just cast
It's
a new
already been
person.
done, Chris.
You just cast a new person.
It's already been done.
Ugh.
It's already happened. So that ship's already sailed.
James Bond will return, not played by Daniel Craig, but by an actor wearing Daniel Craig's likeness in CGI. It's like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
It's already happened, Chris. So, the cat's out of the bag.
The socks is out of the suitcase.
Yes, we've just got to try and make the best of what we get.
True.
Speaking of which, do we think that?
I'm waiting for the segue. Where's this going?
It's not a segue. Do we think that Cobb Vanth got his?
Fuck me sideways. Right. So this episode opens with I totally forgot. This episode opens with Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Timothy Oliphant. Looking fine.
He's a long, tall glass of water.
Oh, good lord. Didn't have a thing for Timothy Oliphant, but something about Cobb Vanth. Mando's like, you can help me, and he's like, look, Mos Pelgos, like, I've just managed to get things in order after you helped us kill the Sand Dragon. Like, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
My townsfolk, I'm the sheriff, my townsfolk are my priority. I just need to make sure they stay okay. I'm already dealing with, God, what are they called? Pike Syndicate, Spice Runners. That opening scene is so Western. I love it. It was so good. He's just like, right, here's how it's going to work. You're going to fuck off. And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm giving you one chance now to fuck off and not show up here again, and I will think nothing of it. And then when they kind of resist, he just kills 2 of them and leaves one left, and he's like, you take your profit, I'll keep the box of the thing you can give to them, and you fuck off. Dead simple. Then when I love that he opens it, sees it's spice, which we now know because of this series, like it's established. It's a really expensive commodity. Fucking Dune flashbacks all over again. And Cobb just fucking kicks it over and he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because he's basically looking at it as like, you're shipping cocaine through my village. Fuck that. No, I'm not having that trade here. Off it. I know that's not what it is, but it's that same kind of attitude of him being like, he takes the Class A drug, opens the bag and lets it drift into the wind, and he's like, nope, not having that shit here. No evidence of it. It's not going to corrupt anybody. No one's going to sell it or steal it. Nope, goodbye. It doesn't agree to join Mando. I love the little visual hints of how prosperous Mos Pelgos has become because of the death of the what are they called? Crate dragon? Crate dragon. The death of the crate dragon. The fucking bar's been reinforced with like part of its rib cage.
Yeah.
As an internal structure.
We see the skull of it on the top of the
Jawa sandcrawler. It's like, what a great bit of very subtle isn't the right word. Very simple visual storytelling.
The Jawas who now...
If you remember the start of Series 2 of Mandalorian, you can see how well everybody is off after the events of that story.
Yeah. And, it was good for the Jawas because Mando paid him, so they like him now.
Yes, yeah. That's true. It's just... It's lovely, and he doesn't join Din, but they kind of leave it open to you thinking, oh, Cobb's gonna come round, isn't he? He's gonna see that, there's a greater good here that I can absolutely help out with, and he's like, get the townsfolk together, we're gonna have a meeting. Like, we're gonna get our best shooters, basically, and we're going to go and join Boba Fett and on Mando. As a favour to Mando, we're going to go and join Boba Fett's thing and we're going to get rid of these spice runners once and for all. And as he's telling them to spread the word about getting the townsfolk together, a fucking silhouette shows up in the distance. And suddenly, what is it? Stranger comes to town. Suddenly makes sense. Wasn't Mando showing up to the Jedi planet. Fucking wasn't Mando. Wasn't Mando showing up and joining Boba Fett's gang. It was CAD fucking Bane.
CAD Bane.
This is the bit of fan service that I went, okay, I appreciate
People still find a way to fucking complain about it.
True, but like the Luke Skywalker thing, I'm like, narratively I can see this being weird. As an actor I can see this being weird. But like, this is cool, because they're like, we need the Pike Syndicate to send an enforcer. We've already had Dark Chrysanthemum in this show. Black Chrysanthemum. Who looks amazing, and I love the fact that he's basically part of the posse that's going to fight the bad guys. He looks fucking awesome. Yes. What a great performance and a great suit.
Yes.
That actor's doing so much with his eyes, it's insane. So we need to send a bad guy. We need to send a bad guy that new viewers who don't follow all the stuff will go, God, they're quite striking.
Yeah.
Oh, they're quite scary. The same way that like the Dark Troopers were... in Mando, like we saw it and you went, oh Jesus Christ, okay, that's scary, because obviously they had the weird offset movements, the way that Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito is just like utterly ruthless the moment he arrives, and you go, okay, I'm intimidated by this character. The same effect, let's call it the Vader effect.
Yeah,
you need a character to rock up and you go, okay, I don't know anything about them, but I know this is bad news for our leads. If you have a character whose fate is left undetermined in the new canon, after their primary storytelling period, which was the Clone Wars TV series, and I think he's in Rebels as well, briefly.
I'm not sure if he pops up in Rebels. He's definitely in Clone Wars.
But Cad Bane is a bounty hunter for hire. He's a big old ruthless bastard. He's a mercenary. He's a thief. He's whatever you pay him to be.
He is to the prequel era what Boba Fett is supposed to be to the original trilogy era.
Yes, great example. He, oh Jesus, he is voiced by Corey Burton.
Mm-hmm.
In the originals, he's got a little bit more of an accent in the Clone Wars.
Yes,
but he shows up in the period set between Attack of the Clones and
the actual Clone Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars. And if he does show up in Rebels, again, I've not watched all the Rebels, so he might not have. But if he just show up in Rebels, that means he's still. We know he's still around during the growth of the Empire.
Yeah.
In the events before Star Wars. We now know that he survived the Imperial occupation of the galaxy. Probably doing jobs for them, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And here he is, creepy blue Mullock the Glucken-faced alien boy in his gambit sock headpiece and his wide-brimmed hat and his leather coat and his big gloopy fingers with the bobbly knoblets on the end.
Yep.
And his big old red eyes. Here he is, alive and well, as a practical costume with slight CGI enhancements.
Wonderful.
Portrayed physically by an actor. And voiced by Corey Burton.
Yeah.
with less of an accent, but voiced by Corey Burton. And he is every bit as intimidating as he needs to be for a new viewer to just go, well, this guy's scary. And he's every bit as well realised as he needs to be for people who watch the Clone Wars to go, fucking hell, no! Oh my god, they did it. This series has given us characters from deleted scenes from Star Wars.
Yep.
Characters mentioned in the novels and the comics. Characters from the Marvel comics. And now characters from the Clone Wars animated series.
Yep.
What the fuck? And then he kills my boy Cobb. Possibly.
Or does he?
Possibly. He kills the bartender.
Because he shoots Cobb in the shoulder.
I liked him coming back. I like that whole thing of him.
He doesn't kill the bartender.
No, he kills the deputy, doesn't he?
Yeah. He shoots Cobb in the shoulder and Cobb goes straight down.
Yeah.
He fucking unloads into the deputy.
Yeah. Like, it's a laser, so we know it doesn't have, a clip. But he's like, 1 shot into you, 5 into you.
Yeah.
If this were a Western, the gun would now be clicking and smoking.
You see people rush into Cobb with, medkits, so I think he's still alive.
By the time you're listening to this, you'll know for sure.
Yeah, we'll know for sure.
Dear listener.
But I think he's still alive.
Yeah, it would be ballsy as fuck if they took him off the table. It would be pretty ballsy. Even if he dies from his wound next week, even, that would be pretty ballsy, because then it's that clear message of, oh, like we've been watching Boba and Fennec amass a little team of badasses and rogues.
Mm-hmm.
And if we saw one of the most charismatic badasses from Mando Series 2 die, you'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe they're not going to get through this.
Yeah.
Because we've not seen the Pike Syndicate do anything themselves yet that shows them as a threat. We've seen people they've hired do their thing. Like, we've seen the ninja-like characters in episode 1 and 2. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, if it was like, oh, you guys are getting a band together. Yeah, it's alright, we've got a band of our own. Meet these 3 or 4 fucking bounty hunters who are going to rip the shit out of you all.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I just thought it was very cool. I thought it was pretty cool. And he's probably going to be the thumbnail.
I mean, he's so cool.
He's very visually striking.
It's so cool. And if people complain, his face isn't long enough.
Yeah, that's alright. Isn't it weird how Ewan McGregor's, beard wasn't triangular enough in those prequel movies?
It's almost like people don't understand what art style is.
Don't you find it weird that Rosario Dawson's eyes aren't 2/3 of her face? That's so strange. Just fucking... Yeah, it's weird, that. It's like, he's not a CGI character, guys. It's a practical effects costume with CGI enhancements, and he looks great. He looks really cool.
He does.
And he looks less uncanny valley than Luke Skywalker does in a few shots.
To be fair, not much less. I think I was more okay with the Luke than you are, I think.
Yeah.
It did not bother me nearly as much.
No. And I'll be honest, watching it didn't bother me. Thinking about it afterwards.
Thinking about how it was achieved, I maybe have issues with, but...
But little Grogu jumping.
Oh.
And when Luke was just lifting him up because he couldn't keep up.
Oh. It's very good.
It's very, very cute. Chainmail vest.
It's going to be the chainmail.
You better fucking pick it.
He's going to pick the chainmail.
Woo! Are you guys enjoying the Book of Boba Fett? We'd like to know. You can email in.
You can.
BigDamnContact@gmail.com.
Yes.
Tell us about your whiffles, waffles, stinkles, and poffles.
Yes.
You could also tweet us anytime you like, @BigDamnCast.
Yes.
You can even help to keep the lights on, i.e. the podcast online, paying for the storage and getting some extra bonus treats in the months to come.
Yes.
At patreon.com/BigDamnCast. You get automatic access to the Discord server. Why would you not want that? Filth is posted there. News we don't talk about on the podcast gets discussed in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So go over to that shit, son. But until next time, 294 down.
Yes. 6 to go.
6 to go.
Jesus.
What could it mean? A CGI facsimile of us will be back next week to tell you.